So apparently, people have been going after this mathematics now. There's nothing these woke, crazy people would not be going after. Many of them online have started to go after maths. They've tried it with nuclear family. They've tried to destroy the idea of nuclear family. They've tried to destroy the idea of professionalism, like you asking your workmate to get to work in time is now apparently a trait of white supremacists. And if you are not a white person supporting that, apparently you are a white supremacist sympathizer or something. They will find one name or the other to brand you. And right now they're going after mathematics. So I never knew from day one, from the time of learning in primary school, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4. Something that is universally objective, you're either right or wrong, has been deemed as something that is a white supremacist thing. At this moment, I don't even know what is not white supremacist, because, I mean, masculinity is white supremacist. We're talking time is white supremacist, and you're talking about nuclear family, a system of a family is white supremacist, and now they're talking about time, mathematics is white supremacist. What isn't white supremacist? So usually I wouldn't worry about this kind of a thing. I wouldn't worry at all, because I do believe that, everybody is entitled to their opinion, and we have a lot of crazies on Twitter. But the person that is actually making the internet airways right now for this particular premise happens to be a mathematics professor from New York by the name of Rubel, Laurie, or something like that. And she put that online, and she was like, who's with me? Now, to me, it felt harmless at first. I just felt like, yes, this is one of those woke crazy people out there just doing their thing. But until I saw on the news that the Department of Education in some states in America are actually starting to encourage their teachers to go and study what you call ethnomathematics. This ethnomathematics is something that brings real objectivity to maths. It teaches that the objectivity of mathematics, the demand to answer question rightfully, is white supremacist. So in other words, it is evil. So they need to teach students in a different way to create different options. So 2 plus 2 can be equals to 5 depending on the culture you are from, depending on the ethnicity that you are from. If you're not a white person, the answer must not be 4, so that you can fight against white supremacy, right? This is what they're trying to push. This is what these woke lunatics out there are trying to push to people, so that people can reject mathematics, right? So the plot thickens, and it is starting to dawn on me what these people are trying to do. But based on these premises, these 3 premises, Department of Education in Oregon is asking their teachers to go and study this ethnomathematics. They're not forcing them at the moment. They're only saying things like they're encouraging them to go and study it so that they can teach, ethnic children differently from how they teach white children. Are you starting to sense something happening? Because left to me, it seems like they're finding a way to usher in segregation once again. But this time around, they want it to be black people that actually ask for these things.
Public service announcement. Excuse me. If y'all didn't know, this is the MSC, and frankly, there's just too many white people in here, and this is a space for people of color. So just be really cognizant of the space that you're taking up, because it does make some of us POCs uncomfortable when we see too many white people in here. It's only been open for 4 days, and frankly, there's the whole university for a lot of y'all to be at. And there's very few spaces for us. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
So they create certain words, certain terms to actually, get black people to respond to certain things that they're pushing. It's always funny when you when you think about it. Every single thing that they're going after, these perverted ideas that they're pushing, right? Everything that they're going after are things that have developed any civilized society. And I'm not just talking about civilized society as a westernized thing. I'm talking about every civilization that has ever existed. When you talk about every civilization that has ever existed, masculinity and femininity work hand in hand to develop them. But today, they are trying to criticize masculinity, make it something that deems it toxic, attribute it to white people so that they can get other people to reject it. And the funny thing is that it's black people that fall for these things the most. They're the ones that reject things like this the most. They don't want to accept, anything that has been branded as white supremacy, so it's easier for them to kind of like reject it. Also, professionalism. See, in Africa, we have what we call African time, but that's a joke. You know, you go into a party, we never get there in time. But in reality, when it comes to work, we put professionalism in our work. We put professionalism in our time for, school classes, classrooms. These are recipes, scheduling, and things like that. The concept of time, working with time, is a recipe for success. But you see these people that are pushing this ideology saying that professionalism, when a white person asks you to be more professional at work, that's white supremacist. They want you to reject something that if you follow principles that you would follow, that would make you more successful. There are so many photos that shows this about black people being oppressed that way. They tell black people that they are oppressed. So these key words or key terms, oppression, these are trigger words to black people. Once they hear it, they react, right? Oppression, systemic racism. That's why you hear the Democrats in America use this a lot. The leftists, they use it a lot. They want to enforce things that don't exist. But they know that when they use certain terms, they will garner a lot of support from those people that feel like they're being oppressed, those people that are being pandered to. And apparently and sadly, it seems like it works. It works for the most part. And hopefully someday it will stop working. Hopefully someday more and more black people, because I know a lot of black people are starting to open their eyes, but more and more will start to see the trickery of this woke activists or woke liberals and, the woke left, I would say. Not all liberals. There are liberals with reasonable reasoning there, right? I listen to Bill Maher on TV, and I know he's made a lot of mistakes, but the guy is still very centered. He's still very grounded. He still says some things that makes a lot of sense, and he's a lefty, right? It doesn't matter if you're lefty or you're from the right. As long as you have the right sense of things, common sense, to say that mathematics, something as objective as mathematics, is white supremacist, that's evil, man. That's evil. That's deception. They're trying to deceive black people to reject what could make them successful so that black people can blame their shortcomings on so-called systemic racism, whereas the real truth is they're not taking responsibility for the mistakes that they make. A couple of weeks ago, we heard the story of the Gorilla Glue girl. I'm sorry to use that name, but yeah, this lady glued her hair to her head and she sought for help. And then all of a sudden I saw this article that was saying that happened to her because of systemic racism. Some time ago, I also covered a story about obesity in America. And turns out TED Talk, you can actually imagine a TED Talk sponsoring a talk telling women that they're fat because of systemic racism. Regardless of the fact that their counterparts in Africa who haven't suffered this so-called systemic racism also have the same rate of obesity when they eat the same unhealthy food. So what I am seeing here is this is a strong attack, and blacks are falling for it. Not all black people, of course, I didn't fall for it, but a lot of black people are falling for it because those trigger terms are there. Systemic racism, white supremacist, oppression. These are key words. And whenever they see someone who's saying it, they seem to think that that person is on their side. Well, if you're listening to this voice today, whenever people are pointing out white supremacists, odds are those people that are pointing it out on things that are of common sense, on things that are supposed to be good for you. If you, as a person, do not do your own personal investigation to find out whether these things are true or not, the so-called white supremacists, whether they truly are or not, and you don't ask questions, why do you say it's a white supremacist thing? Then you are of all men most foolish. Yeah, I said it. You are of all men most foolish. You got to wise up. This is one of the things, and this is how they get people to go out there and destroy people's property because of the death of one person. And they seem to assume that they're doing what's right because they think they're fighting against white supremacists. Destroying private citizens' businesses is not fighting white supremacy. Wake up, wake up, and wake up, especially I know that a lot of other people that are ethnic people, maybe Hispanics and some Asian Americans, will also be talking about this. Some of them have valid points that maybe they face some kind of oppression or not. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm saying in the general sense of things, many people just want to claim that they do, but it really isn't happening to them. And those liberals that are saying they're here to help, they're trying to usher in more segregation. If teachers need to learn this ethnomathematics before they teach their students, do you reckon they would have to be teaching their students twice in the class? They would teach them the so-called white way, even though mathematics did not originate from white people. It originated from Africans, Egyptians, as well as Mesopotamians, who are the current Iraqis. But they're trying to attribute it to the Western world. Greeks and Romans had to learn from those two groups that I talked about. They had to learn from the Babylonians. They had to learn their maths from the Babylonians. The Greek developed mathematics. The Romans didn't do squat. They just learned and applied it, right? If we're talking about that, if we're also talking about the oldest mathematical object in the world was found in Swaziland in Africa, Southern Africa. Just so you know, it was a calendar. It was a fibular bone from a bamboo. So maths in itself is not an attribute of, or its origins was not from white people. But you know, a lot of black people don't know this. So once they stamp this white supremacist on it, they will be able to distract black people or push black people away from actually getting proper education for themselves. So that's why they've said, go learn this ethnomathematics that teaches you lies about maths. Now, what I was saying before I strayed away was, do you reckon that if a teacher has to teach two groups of students in one class, that there would be enough time to teach those students or those pupils twice, teach them the so-called white way, and then teach them the ethno-mathematical way? No, that will not be efficient now, would it? It will not be productive. So the most productive way would be to segregate the students and say, some teachers, those of you who are white supremacist teachers, teach white children the right way to do maths, while those of you who think the right way to do maths is white supremacist, go teach those black kids, those dumb kids.
And I'm being facetious when I say that. I don't mean black kids are dumb kids. I'm just being facetious. And
so when they go to shops to buy stuff, they will practically be idiots. Practically be idiots. Absolutely bonkers. But anyways, guys, this is what I have to say about this. I want to know what you think about this whole thing. I was just testing out this talk. It's very random the way I'm bringing it to you this time around. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. There will be more coming from me. Maybe not all my videos will be voiceovers like this one, but yeah, please do subscribe. I want to thank you guys for watching or listening to this voice this time around. Hope you guys learned something, and please do share this video. Thank you very much. Take care, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.